Imagine a place where thousands of vacant, decaying eyes stare back at you from every shadow, where broken limbs hang like macabre fruit, and the air whispers secrets only the dead should know. You're about to journey into one of the most chilling places on Earth, an island shrouded in tragedy and haunted by the echoes of a lonely man's obsession. We're talking about a small, forgotten corner of Mexico that harbors a truly disturbing secret, an island where the only inhabitants are thousands of decaying dolls. This isn't just a spooky tale, it's a real place, a place that exists just south of Mexico City, hidden within the ancient, winding canals of Xochimilco. It's called Isla de las Muñecas, the island of the dolls, and it's less an attraction and more a museum of human grief, fear, and a desperate attempt to appease a restless spirit. The dolls hang from every tree, every fence, every ramshackle structure, their painted smiles twisted by time and weather, their glass eyes holding untold stories of sorrow and madness. But why are they there? What drove a man to dedicate his life to collecting these unsettling figures, and what happened to him in the end? Prepare yourself, because the true story is far more disturbing than any horror film. The story of the Isla de las Muñecas doesn't begin with a grand plan or a tourist gimmick, it begins, as many truly eerie stories do, with profound tragedy. Our central character in this macabre drama is Don Julian Santana Barrera. He was the caretaker of this particular chinampa, a floating garden in the labyrinthine canal system of Xochimilco. Don Julian was a quiet, solitary man, living a simple life connected to the land and the water, a life that would be irrevocably altered by a single, horrifying discovery. One fateful day, as the story goes, Don Julian made a discovery that would haunt him for the rest of his days. He found the body of a young girl, tragically drowned in the murky waters of the canal right near his home. The details of her drowning are scarce, lost to time and local lore, but the impact on Don Julian was immediate and profound. He was deeply affected by the sight, by the senseless loss of a young life, and he felt a chilling connection to the incident that refused to fade. Soon after, Don Julian began to experience strange things. He claimed he started hearing whispers, faint, disembodied voices carried on the breeze through the reeds and over the water. He felt an undeniable presence, a cold, heavy feeling that lingered around his small dwelling and the edges of his island. To him, there was no doubt, the spirit of the drowned girl was still there, trapped, restless, and perhaps seeking something. He believed, with an unshakable conviction, that the little girl's spirit haunted his island, unable to find peace. Overwhelmed by these experiences, and driven by a deep sense of compassion, or perhaps, a growing madness, Don Julian embarked on a mission. He reasoned that if the spirit was restless, it must be because she needed comfort, companionship, or perhaps a way to remember her childhood. His solution was as unconventional as it was unsettling. He started collecting dolls. His initial thought was to offer these dolls as gifts to the drowned girl's spirit, hoping to appease her, to bring her some measure of comfort in her eternal haunting. He found the first doll floating in the canal, discarded and forgotten, a grim parallel to the girl he believed it was meant for. He hung it from a tree branch, a small offering in a desperate prayer for peace. What began as a single act of kindness quickly spiraled into a lifelong obsession. For more than 50 years, until the day he died, Don Julian dedicated himself to this grim task. He meticulously collected and displayed dolls across his small island. He didn't discriminate, any doll he could find was fair game. He scavenged them from the canals, pulling them from the weeds and muck where they had been carelessly tossed. He unearthed them from trash heaps, rescuing them from forgotten corners of landfills. As the island's macabre reputation grew, visitors began to bring him dolls, some out of curiosity, some out of morbid respect for his strange endeavor, and some, perhaps, hoping to contribute to the appeasement of a spirit they too felt lurking. Don Julian didn't just hang the dolls, he curated them with a strange, almost artistic, dedication. He often found them broken, dismembered, or worn. Rather than fixing them, he incorporated their damage into their display. He would repair them in crude ways, sometimes using wires or twine to reattach a head or a limb, but often he left them as he found them. He would paint their faces, sometimes adding new, vacant eyes, or sketching unsettling smiles. He wanted them to look real, he once explained, to reflect the passage of time and the suffering he felt around him. He strung them up from tree branches, nailed them to wooden posts, impaled them on barbed wire fences, and nestled them into the crevices of his decaying shack. He purposefully left them to rot in the elements, the blistering sun, the torrential rains, the damp air of the canals, allowing nature to further distort their plastic features, giving them an even more grotesque and lifelike decay. The types of dolls varied wildly. There were tiny baby dolls, their plastic skin cracked and peeling. There were larger, more ornate figures, once cherished, now covered in cobwebs and grime. Barbie-like figures, their once glamorous clothes reduced to tattered rags, hung by their necks. Their common thread was their condition, vacant eyes, often clouded with mold or dirt, tangled, matted hair, and decaying, often missing, limbs. They were not comforting playthings, they were relics, silent witnesses to Don Julian's decades-long vigil. Each doll, in its own way, told a story of neglect and decay, echoing the fate of the girl Don Julian believed he was trying to console. Stepping onto Isla de las Muñecas today is an experience that lingers long after you've left. The sheer number of dolls is overwhelming, numbering in the thousands, perhaps tens of thousands, a silent, unsettling army watching your every move. Their grotesque appearance, amplified by the natural decay, creates an undeniably unsettling atmosphere. The air itself feels thick, heavy with an almost palpable silence, broken only by the rustle of leaves, the croaking of frogs, and the gentle lapping of the canal waters against the shore. It's a silence that feels less like peace and more like a held breath. Visitors to the island often report feeling watched, an omnipresent gaze from countless empty eyes. Many speak of hearing whispers, indistinct sounds that seem to float just beyond the edge of hearing, almost like faint cries or muffled conversations. A general sense of dread permeates the entire island. It's not just the sight of the dolls, it's the oppressive weight of the story they represent, the decades of obsession and unanswered questions. Local beliefs only amplify this feeling. Many locals firmly believe that the dolls are not merely plastic and cloth but are possessed by the spirits of deceased children, their tiny souls trapped within the decaying figures. Some even claim that the dolls turn their heads, blink their eyes, or whisper to each other when no one is looking, a chilling thought that sends shivers down the spines of even the most hardened skeptics. The island has earned its reputation as a genuinely haunted location, a place where the veil between worlds feels incredibly thin. Don Julian's dedication to his macabre collection continued unwavering for over half a century. But all stories, even the most strange and enduring, must come to an end. The climax of this chilling tale arrived tragically in 2001. Don Julian was an old man by then, his life consumed by the dolls and the spirit he sought to pacify. On the day of his death, he was with his nephew, Anastasio. Don Julian had reportedly told Anastasio that a siren, a mythical water creature, was calling him from the canal, beckoning him to join her. Anastasio left for a short time to attend to chores. When he returned, he found his uncle. Don Julian Santana Barrera was dead, found drowned in the very same canal where he had discovered the little girl's body all those decades ago. The irony and tragedy of his demise were not lost on the locals. Many believe that the siren Don Julian spoke of was, in fact, the spirit of the drowned girl, finally calling him to join her. Or perhaps, it was Don Julian himself, finally succumbing to the weight of his lifelong obsession, drawn back to the source of his torment and dedication. The local belief solidified around this tragic end. Don Julian's spirit now resides on the island, joining the spirits he had so desperately tried to appease, forever bound to his unsettling legacy. His death brought a definitive, chilling closure to his life's work, cementing the island's place in Mexico's most mysterious folklore. Today, Isla de las Muñecas remains a popular, albeit profoundly unsettling, tourist attraction. Visitors from all corners of the world, driven by curiosity, a love for the macabre, or a fascination with the supernatural, make the journey through the Xochimilco canals to witness this unique and disturbing spectacle. They come not for grand architecture or stunning natural beauty, but to experience the heavy atmosphere, to see the thousands of vacant eyes for themselves, and to ponder the strange tale of Don Julian. Of course, like any good mystery, there are debates. Skeptics question the authenticity and veracity of the ghost stories, attributing the unsettling feelings to psychological suggestion and the power of narrative. They argue that the whispers are merely the wind, the feeling of dread, a natural response to such a bizarre and decaying environment. Yet, even the most hardened skeptic can't deny the powerful impact of the island. Regardless of whether one believes in the supernatural, Isla de las Muñecas stands as a chilling glimpse into the depths of human grief, the power of obsession, and the enduring nature of folklore. It's a symbolic reminder of the fragility of life, the profound impact of loss, and the strange, persistent presence of the past that refuses to be forgotten. It's a place that forces you to confront the darker side of human nature and the thin line between reality and the spectral. If you found Don Julian's story as haunting as his island, you won't want to miss our next deep dive into another unsettling tale.